Listen, Jay-Z is caught up in some kind of chokehold, is what I'm calling it, via the internet. He has been named as one of the people who were involved somehow, or at least his name is in Epstein files that apparently have been dropped on the internet a few days ago. And the internet has him, I would say, in a chokehold. Plus, we're going to talk a little bit about how that's going to, kind of derail a little bit of what Beyonce has going on, because I believe she has an album or a tour coming up, or maybe both. And it's kind of adjacent to what happened to her last year around Christmas, because I believe she performed at the Super Bowl last year on Christmas. I believe I could be wrong about that, but I believe that's when she. No, it wouldn't. It couldn't have been the Super Bowl if it was on Christmas, because the Super Bowl is typically in February. So, but she did have a special halftime show last year, and that's not that performance came not too far after there was this whole accusation of Jay-Z allegedly being a part of some sort of R-wording of a 13-year-old, which later, I guess the girl recanted or something to that effect. And he was in a whole fist fight, in my opinion, on the internet with a Houston lawyer, Mr. Busby, I believe is his name. But that got squashed and it kind of went away. And now here we are again, where Beyonce is about to go back on tour or about to drop an album. She's about to do something major. And now he's back in the news in a big way. And like I said, the internet, listen, they are not playing with Jay-Z. I believe Jay-Z is guilty of something. I don't know what, but I've done deep dives on him before. And there's nothing in his past that I see that doesn't involve, or that I've, researched, that doesn't involve him having some sort of relationship with a person, whether it's his best friend or business partner at the time, and or an artist that he hasn't, had an opportunity to step on them or minimize their work, or, do all kinds of little nefarious things, that he hasn't taken every opportunity to do it. So that's why I believe, whatever reason that man's name is in these files, I can't say he did anything with any underage people or anything illegal, because I don't have any proof of that, right? However, the thing that makes it easier to say, well, I believe it's possible, is because of the rumors about him and Foxy Brown, and she was around 15 when she got signed to Rockefeller Records. He, I guess, at some point at least tried to date Aaliyah, who also, I feel like Aaliyah was of age when they met. I'm not 100% certain about that, but Nicki Minaj posted that she was 16. I don't know that I believe that. I could be wrong about that, but I'm not sure that picture and that age, her age at the time, is accurate, because it seems like when she started dating Dame Dash, I believe she was like 19 or 20, and I believe she passed away at 22 on that flight, if I'm not mistaken. So that's not to say that Jay-Z didn't have any, wasn't trying to get at her when she was underage. I just don't think that that picture that Nicki Minaj posted of him on Twitter is accurate. I could be wrong about that though. And it's also easy to believe because he has allegedly a child that he has refused to take a paternity test for. And that's been going on for several years. And the young man's mom, who was fighting to get, I guess, the paternity test taken when she was alive, she ended up passing away. I think she had cancer or something. And so the young man has been saying since then, hey, I think he's my daddy, make him take a paternity test. But the judge recently, I feel like sometime last year, basically threw it out and said he doesn't have to take the DNA test, which makes no sense to me, outside of you got pull, you got a whole bunch of power and a whole bunch of money and friends in high places. That's how I see that situation, because why wouldn't you make him take the test? I don't understand, but those are some of the reasons. And the streets have said for many years the reason Jay-Z didn't want to take the DNA test is because whenever this young man, Ramirez, his name, that's saying Jay-Z is his father, or he wants him to take the DNA test, if Jay-Z takes that DNA test and he is Ramirez's father, then that puts Jay-Z in a bind legally, because then that means that whenever he was having sex with Ramirez's mom, she was either 15 or 16, and Jay-Z was in his 20s. Then he was like 22 or 23. So that is illegal. So that's basically why everybody in the streets, the internet streets, have said that's why Jay-Z won't take the test. We don't know, because he didn't, the judge basically ruled that he didn't have to take the test. So we may never know. But you know what? I don't understand why somebody can't get his DNA from somewhere. You know what I mean? Because I always watch those crime shows, and it's like they get their DNA from like trash, or I've watched where cops follow, their suspect for months. We're hoping that this person would smoke a cigarette and put it out in some sort of public trash. And then once it's trash, then they can legally come and take it. And I'm just like, why hasn't someone done that? I don't understand how nobody could get this man's DNA. Like, but apparently they can't. So anyways, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to listen to some videos. Come on in, get seated. Because listen, the internet streets, they are popping with Jay-Z right now. And it's not a good look. It's just not a good look. So let me make sure. Oh, I'm the wrong one. Okay, so I have the right one up. All right, let's listen to this, guys. My dog is whining, and I don't know why.
All right, let's talk about the Epi files, namely the big names that you probably know that are in the documents. Donald Trump, of course, in the documents. William Gates, aka Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Jay-Z, Pusha T. And then we're going to talk about some dude named Howard that's named in the documents. You probably don't know him, but you will after this. But first, to understand all of this, what you have to know is the Department of Justice under Donald Trump had a problem. You see, United States Congress passed a law saying, y'all got to release those files. The Department of Justice said, all the files? Congress said, yeah. Did I stutter? So after a bunch of stalling, the Department of Justice said, okay, look, here's half the documents. And that's what you got. Those were the files that were recently released. 3 million pages out of 6 million pages. Congress said, didn't we say release all the documents? The Department of Justice excuse was they're trying to protect victims. I'm not even going to insult you with the Department of Justice reasons for not releasing the other half of the files. But let's just say Congress is apparently trying to get the rest of the files released. But in this half of the files, like we said earlier, you got some big names, starting with Elon. Now, remember, Elon Musk said, I ain't never spoke to that dude Epstein. He tried to invite me to the island. I said, no. Donald Trump, though, y'all should check on him. Well, turns out in the files, there is email correspondence between Elon and Jeff Epps. Elon basically saying, yo, when can I fall through to the island? When can I pull up? Elon emailing him year after year. And this is after it came out that Jeff Epps was committing those heinous crimes. And I want you to take special note of that, because here's a side note. Jeff Epps, around 2005, that's when it came out that he was committing heinous acts. That's when you see a bunch of billionaires and politicians come out and say, oh, that's when I stopped talking to him. 2005, 2008, that's when I cut him off. But again, Elon hitting him up like 2012 saying, yo, it's Christmas time. Can I come to, Elon saying this, the wildest parties you got? What's the wildest parties you got? He said, me and my wife, his wife at the time, trying to pull up. And what's kind of embarrassing, when Elon last messaged Jeff Epps, Elon was like, yo, man, can't wait. Is the heli coming? Like, Jeff Epps responded to him saying, look, man, I'm not going to be at the island this year. Like, you can't come. I'm going to be in New York. Boy got rejected by.
See how these people be just lying. Now, I didn't read the files, so I don't have any proof of this. And like I said, it's all alleged. Everything on Chanel's Reality is in entertainment purposes only. It's all alleged. I don't know none of these people, and I wasn't there. But I trust this guy because I watched him, and he kind of makes it funny, whatever it is that he's talking about, whatever the hot topic is. But I don't think he would lie and say, there's some sort of email correspondence between Eli and Jeff Epstein if he didn't have some sort of, something to back that up. I just don't see him doing that. But this is why you can't trust none of these people. Like them coming out and saying, I never, because I think, oh God, is it Bill Gates that owns Microsoft? I think Bill Gates was supposedly in the file somewhere, and he immediately was like, oh, hell no, I was not a part of that. But then I'm giving him the side eye because I saw him at some sort of, I don't know if it was a luncheon or a meeting or whatever with Donald Trump. And so I'm like, I just feel like, listen, birds of a feather flock together. I don't want to believe that about Bill Gates, but you can't trust none of these people. You can't trust none of them. So anyway, let's carry on.
Our weirdo, Elon, tripping. And speaking of tripping, let's talk about William. I've been told y'all about William. So according to the files, Jeff Epps is basically like drafting an email to himself, detailing the stuff about William Gates, saying William Gates messes with Russian girls. He's stepping out on his wife with these Russian girls. And with these Russian girls, he got a disease, which he then gave to his wife. And now he wants Jeff Epps to give antibiotics to his wife secretly. And he said, whole time Bill Gates over here, tears in his eyes, trying to beg me this and that. Boy, stop it. If you could cry, you can walk to the bank. Because the only way I ain't telling nobody about this is if you give me a house. Jeff Epps, side note, loved him some blackmail. Now, mind you, Bill Gates denies all this stuff. Elon Musk denies this stuff. But it's kind of tough to deny because these are emails that the FBI acquired. Now, here's why I said that, because here's where things start to get wicked. What I just told you about Bill Gates and Elon Musk is regarding what they found in Jeffrey Epstein's emails. But Donald Trump, Pusha T, and Jayz, who we're about to talk about right now, they don't show up in emails. They show up in allegations. Basically, people coming out and saying, yo, I saw Donald Trump, Jayz, Pusha T doing this. I saw them when I went to this party and that party. Donald Trump shows up a lot. People detailing in graphic account what they were told to do with Donald Trump. People detailing the fact that Donald Trump had wild parties of his own. As for Pusha T and Jayz, it's a similar situation. But as far as we know, they show up one time in the files with one accuser saying 1994, she saw Jayz at a party. Harvey Weinstein was there and they both. And how they got to these parties in the first place is because of people like Pusha T, who the accuser called a handler. They go on to say Pusha T would give them stuff to make them really sleepy, and then they would wake up at these parties. Now, besides all the big names I mentioned to you, there are plenty of other names in these files. Many people in Donald Trump's inner circle, politicians alike. But there's one politician I want to highlight for you, and that's Howard Lutnick, your Secretary of Commerce. You see, he was Jeff Epps' next door neighbor. So a few years back, I guess he felt like he had to explain himself. So he goes on and does an interview. This is when it was all popping about Jeff Epps. He came out and said, look, all that stuff about Jeff Epps in the news, just because I was his neighbor, let me start by saying I got nothing to do with it. And when I tell you, he was being this boy should be an actor. Boy should get an Oscar, because he was furious that his name was even mentioned in the same sentence. He said, don't mention my name with that man. The interviewer said, you serious? He said, damn straight. He said, let me tell y'all something. I went over to introduce myself to Jeff Epps. Me and my wife was there. We knocked on the door. We said, hello. Boom. Jeff Epps opened the door. We said, hey. We saw a massage table in the middle of the room. That was weird. Yeah. So we said, Jeff Epps, you like getting massages or something? Jeff Epps leans over and says, I love massages, but he was weird with it. Like, we thought it was weird, me and my wife. And then we said, okay, Jeff, we're going to leave. We looked at each other and we promised we would never.
Slow life girl or glow life girl? It's time to choose a side. I have a brunch. I have a yoga class.
Be in the same room with Jeff Epps. They found him in the files. They found our boy Howard in the files emailing Jeff Epps saying, when can I pull up? When can I pull up to the island? Matter of fact, dude's wife was emailing Jeff Epps too. Just in case you didn't get our last message, can we pull up? We finna bring our friends Mary and Matthew. They named them too. They said they trying to bring the whole fam. Can we pull up? I was guffawed when I tell you in his interview how passionate he was. And I said earlier he should win an Oscar, but honestly, maybe he was a little too passionate in the interview. Like he not Denzel, you know what I'm saying? Like when somebody puts on a little too much fire, that's what I felt like, my opinion, in the interview Howard was doing. So I wasn't surprised to see his name listed in those emails. So what comes next? Well, the crazy part to me is these were, again, half of the files. So the half that they didn't want to show you, ooh, it must be bad. And what it seems like is the Department of Justice is trying to say, look, we gave you half of the files. They're pretty big, right? So just leave us alone. I'm genuinely curious to know if that would work. It seems like people want it all. So let's just wait and see. Side note, if y'all remember, the FBI under Donald Trump came out earlier and said, there ain't no names on the file. Y'all just imagining things. There's no list. Well, we're here now. And it seems that there was a list. So somebody's lying. And to go further, just remember, files mean nothing if people aren't brought to justice. I'm curious to see what happens next. Like, there's this information, but if nobody is pursuing, no government organization is pursuing this information, then what do? We just look at the files. These people did all this, and then we just move on. Well, I think the American people are past that point, and I think I could speak for everyone when I say we demand justice. Now, this is just the first look over people have had over these documents. Remember, it's millions upon millions of pages. So when more information comes out.
So I don't understand the purpose of why they released these files. And I'm also not 100% sure who actually released it, because I've heard the State Department and the FBI and, the government, and it's like, who released it? And I just didn't know that you could release someone's private, emails or text messages, conversations, whatever it is. I thought we had the right to privacy. But I guess if the person's information that you're releasing is A, no longer alive, and B, he was being held, because I guess he was going to go on trial at some point for his accusations, is that person is deceased. Who are you pursuing now? It's very interesting, because I'm like, so they dropped this information, but where did they put it? You know what I mean? Like, to me, it sounds adjacent to like what happened with Edward Snowden, where he was like, I'm going to put this on the internet for all Americans to see, this is what the government is doing, and, Big Brother's watching you or whatever. Is that what they did? Because where are you releasing this information? I just highly doubt they released it on whitehouse.com or .gov. So I'm like, where did they release it? But apparently they released it enough to where, or in a place where journalists and other people can get it, because it's everywhere. And I'm also weirded out by, it's like, I keep hearing people say, oh, it's millions of files or something like that. Again, I don't even know how many terabytes of storage you need to be able to release that or to even harvest it. But I guess if it's within the FBI or the government some way, in some capacity, they probably have it on some server somewhere. But again, where did they release it? Where can we go and get it? People have it. I just don't have it. And I don't know that I even really care to go and find it and view it. But whoever got it, I don't know if they did, Command F for let's find and let's see if we can put some famous people's names in there. And then maybe that's how they found Jay-Z. But if anyone knows how exactly they found Jay-Z, that would be amazing. Y'all let me know in the comments, because I don't know how they found his name in there, unless it was, maybe on the first page or something. Not really sure. Okay, we're going to go to this other video and go and like, I put it in the description. Go and like the people's channels that I am utilizing their videos. Let's go support them. Let me make sure I have this pulled up on my side. Okay, I do have it pulled up. All right. So let's go and listen to what this man has to say about what's going on with Jay-Z.
What did it say Jay-Z did? He was there in 1996.
We are producing more than 3 million pages.
As soon as he was naming the Epstein files, they're going to take all the posts down and everything.
She hashtagged it child predator.
Jay-Z just got caught up and hit with some disgusting allegations tied to the biggest trafficking ring happening right now. Jay-Z, Pusha T, and some very powerful men has just been named in the Epstein files, and the internet is going nuts. The Department of Justice just dropped 3 million pages and 2,000 videos of evidence against everybody accused.
Hold, please. So he just let us know where, well, I don't know. He said they dropped it, but I'm like, and he said videos. I'm like, where did they drop it exactly? Let's go back. Let me make sure I heard him right.
This just dropped 3 million pages and 2,000
Hold on.
videos of evidence against everybody accused of participating in sex parties on the Epstein list. And the stuff that was found on these documents are wild.
Tonight, the Department of Justice releasing their final batch of files
and the millions of newly released Justice Department records
connected to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
They include Epstein's messages with powerful men.
Today, we are producing more than 3 million pages, including more than 2,000 videos and 180,000 images.
People on the internet are now trying to cancel Jay-Z and Beyonce over these allegations.
Okay, so it's the State Department that released the documents, but let's roll it back one more time. Let's just make sure we fully understand who released it.
Beyonce over these allegations. And I know Jay's that are now trying to cancel Jay-Z and Beyonce over these allegations. And I
including more than 2,000. Today, we are producing more than 3 million pages, including more than 2.
So this guy is the U.S. Deputy Attorney General who's announcing this. Okay, so he's announcing it, but I still haven't heard him say where we can go and access. But I guess I could probably Google that.
2,000 videos and 180,000 images.
People on the internet are now trying to cancel.
So hold on, let me go back. He says there's more than 2,000 videos and 180,000 images. That's bananas. Ooh-wee.
People on the internet are now trying to cancel Jay-Z and Beyonce over these allegations. And I know Jay-Z gotta be pissed right now because nobody want to be tied to the Epstein files because people are saying Jay-Z might be finished after this. But before we start this video, do me a favor, guys. Get this video to 500 likes because what we discover in the end might turn this whole case on its head. Let's get it. Now, do y'all remember when Jay-Z and Nicki Minaj just got into that crazy beef a few months ago and Nicki was going on a rampage against Jay, accusing him of blackballing her? Did y'all notice Nicki switched sides and started hanging out at the White House and showing up to events with Erica Kirk and some very powerful political people?
I dare you to let me build you a completely free e-commerce store pre.
Do y'all remember this? Because I certainly remember this. Okay, let's keep going.
So why now have you been involved with speaking about politics?
I just got tired of being pushed around. I'm not gonna back down anymore. I'm not gonna back down ever again.
Amen.
Well, Nicki Minaj just said, "I told you so," now that Jay-Z's been tied to Epstein. And Nicki is now saying that some more damning information about Jay-Z is about to come out.
Nicki says your favorite artist has been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and mutilate and kill them as a form of a blood sacrifice to their god.
Now listen. Again, everything on Chanel's reality is for entertainment purposes only. I don't know none of these people. I wasn't there. And it's all alleged. But I've been down a few rabbit holes, and the child sacrificing part, I can't say that anyone has killed a child or unalived a child or anything like that, but I definitely think that there is some truth to being able to harness other people's energy. And the biggest, brightest balls of energy would be children, right? That's why they can rip and run back and forth to the park. And we just like, oh, Lord, all we did was sit at a desk all day typing information. And we tapped out, you know what I mean? And we need a recharge, and kids have all this energy. So I do think that, that some of these industries, particularly the what would you call it, entertainment industry, I definitely think that they misuse and mistreat and abuse children to some degree. I'm not saying all of them, but I definitely think that they do it to some of them. And my biggest, I would say, reference to that is probably Justin Bieber, because if we go back and we look, and I remember when Justin Bieber came out on Chelsea Lately back in the day on the E Network. She used to have a Chelsea Lately like little 30-minute show or whatever, kind of a comedy show where she had on celebrity guests. And I remember Justin Bieber, me and my husband were watching it, and he was just such a ham. He was so cute. Alexa, stop. He was so cute and he was so charismatic. I was just like, this little boy has it. And I remember him saying, you know, I want to kiss Kim Kardashian or something to that effect. It was very cute and innocent. And then you look at Justin, like literally 4 years later, it's crazy. If you watch those videos, he where he was talking to Diddy, the first one, he looked, again, very innocent, eyes wide open. You know, I can't believe I'm in this man's presence and I'm going to get the car in the house and all this kind of stuff. Of course, he's thinking that he's 14. Of course, he believed in Diddy. You know what I mean? And that boy, him and Usher ain't never been the same since. Usher, I feel like, made it over the little hump of whatever Diddy and L.A. Reid and whomever else had, you know, put that young man through. He definitely got over it and through it and came out on the other side. But I can't trust anything Usher says or does, because Usher is part of the quote unquote team. I think Scooter Braun, they formed a record label just so they could sign Justin. And then you take him over to the diddler, who allegedly had you in the hospital, according to Gene Deal, for something he did to you. And we all have to believe that whatever he did to Usher, he either in some capacity had someone else or he did to Justin. That's just what I believe. Because all of the things add up to Diddy. The thing that keeps making Jay-Z, I feel like his name keeps coming up, is because he's done so much wrong, allegedly, to so many other people that believed in him, people that trusted him, his artists, his, you know, I don't want to say mentors, but like his partners in his business and all that. He's done so much. Nicki hates him, I think, because of that whole title thing, where I think they are all supposed to get like $1 million when he did the title, but then he signed them, told them that, you know, it was going to be for artists, by artists, and all that kind of stuff, like hyped all these big, really big artists up, had them sign this contract, and then sold it for like, you know, I don't know if it was $1 billion or something like that. He sold it for an enormous amount of money. And have y'all used Tidal? Not ever. So it's like, where did that person even see some sort of trajectory that this is going to blow up? Because Jay-Z didn't even grow it. The thing that I think he was resting on is, I'm going to put, you know, Beyonce is going to be on here. And so in order for you to go get her music, you have to come to Tidal. We also have Nicki Minaj. In order for you to get her music, my music, and Kanye West and all the others, right? You got to go to Tidal, but it just never landed, in my opinion. So I don't know if anybody out there in the audience listens to him or goes on Tidal. I don't even know if it's a platform that anybody uses anymore. But shortly after all of Kanye's stuff was on there, it was back on YouTube. Just saying. So I think it's a lot to unpack here. Let's get it.
When your master is Satan, you must constantly shed blood. The destruction that's about to come down on them isn't funny. I told y'all. She says, imagine if a 30-year-old rapper was out there with a 16-year-old in this day and age, and how y'all would have had his head on a platter. Then she says, what in the and she hashtagged it child predator.
In the Epstein files, an anonymous woman claims she was abducted, drugged, and allegedly woke up naked to find Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein in bed with her. She claims that she was abducted and violated by powerful rich men, including Jay-Z, from the late 90s all the way to the early 2000s, to which she alleged the rapper Pusha T got involved as a handler, as these rich men would abuse her, drug her so that she wouldn't know what was happening, and sent her back to the streets. And this is according to a police report that was filed in 2019. But now that the documents are released, some people are saying that Jay-Z might be innocent. And even the singer Lizzo just came out defending Jay-Z, saying something don't add up.
The media is so smart. They're going to make you so distracted with celebrity names that you're not going to focus on the problem. You think every party that Diddy ever threw was a freak off and people were fucking and slipping and sliding on baby oil? No. That man had birthday parties. That man had Easter gatherings. That man had Super Bowl parties. That man had Christmas parties, Halloween parties, regular parties. The American people in the comments, I knew she was wrong. Jay-Z, I knew he was. What did it say Jay-Z did? He was there in 1996. Come on, people. Like, y'all are falling for it. It's the easiest, oldest trick in the book. And honestly, I'm losing faith in the average intelligence of the American person. Because, come on. Just because somebody's name is mentioned in a 3 million document file of a person's life who's been lived over a span, crimes who've spanned decades, doesn't mean that every single person is an accomplice. He could be mentioned. He referenced Jay-Z once. He was like, oh, we could learn from Jay-Z's business model. Why are y'all?
Beware of day trading options. It's one of the fastest ways to lose all of your money. This is what some people will keep.
Where's the crime?
But even though the Jay-Z rumors are unproven and are just allegations right now, people still don't care. There are people who hate Jay-Z so much that they just want to see him go down. And I gotta say this, if Rock Nation is watching this, I ain't got nothing to do with nothing. So before I play this next clip, Jay-Z and Rock Nation, please don't send no black trucks after me, okay? I'm just reporting the news. And people are saying right now that Jay-Z's downfall might be bigger than Diddy's.
Y'all thought the downfall of Diddy was something. The downfall of Jay-Z is going to be something. Jay-Z is working overtime right now to make sure his empire won't crumble apart. Because we're not going to act like he wasn't named in the Epstein files. Hello? As soon as he was naming the Epstein files, they gonna take all the posts down and everything. He probably seen it and made some calls. Was like, nah, get that shit removed right now. Right. Sending mad bread out, sending mad money out. Like, whatever is done in the dark will come to the light.
Rumors have surfaced online that Jay-Z allegedly deleted everything now that those Epstein files leaked.
Jay-Z apparently wiped his Instagram account after being named in the files.
Whoa! At home, please. I did not know he wiped his whole Instagram. Let me find. Hold on. I don't follow him on Instagram, so I don't know. But let me go and see if I can find him on Instagram. I don't know if this is really his account. Because it says Jay-Z has a blue check mark, but it only says 1 million followers. And that to me doesn't sound right. Yeah, this can't be his account. Does he not have an account? Hold, please. Let's see. I'm going to Google. Hold on, let me see. Wow. Listen, I can't say with 100% certainty, but what I can find. Hold on one second. Hello? Yeah. So what I was able to find is one post, and it shows that he has 2 people following him, Kerry Washington and Beyonce. Okay, so that's one with a blue check mark. I don't think this is his either, because the photo of himself is like old and he's very unattractive in that photo. Then there's another one that says he has 1 million followers, but I can't possibly believe.
Beyonce and Jay-Z are now the most unfollowed Instagram accounts.
See, this is one of the videos that's on this Jay-Z account, so that's why I don't believe it. But I cannot. I mean, look, the internet is over here interneting, and I also Googled it, and it sent me to his. I Googled Jay-Z Instagram photos and videos, and see, I keep finding things that say he took a big hit, but I can't find his Instagram. Let me see. Does Jay-Z still have an Instagram? So see, it shows it. I don't know, but this is clearly. Let me see. How many Instagram followers does Jay-Z have? So maybe that is his, because it says he has 1 million Instagram followers on his official account. It just doesn't look right because it's an ugly picture of him. So I'm like, this can't be this man's Instagram. But he did. If this is indeed his Instagram account, then he did wipe it. See, and that's the type of shit that makes you look guilty. Because why would you wipe it if you haven't done anything? And obviously, if you wouldn't post anything, but maybe he has posts on there with that he doesn't want people to go and clip. But this is the thing. I think some people on YouTube and on the internet, that's all they do. They have one specific superstar or whatever it is, or maybe a few that it's almost like they have people sitting and waiting for them to post something that's scandalous or something that shouldn't have been posted. And, maybe the celebrity thought it was all in good fun or whatever. And then literally 5 minutes later, they take it down because somebody has probably told them, no, that's incorrect. You shouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. And somebody has snagged it already. I really do believe that there are millions of people out there that's just all they do. They focus on certain celebrities and they snag it because it's like, you can hear sometimes like that post is up for 3 minutes and it was already snagged. So I think maybe that's what Jay-Z tried to do, but I do think it's going to backfire. So, but let's keep listening.
Huh. Wow. Wow. It's a marketing thing? Really? What's he marketing himself for?
Some people believe what's in the Epstein.
That is his channel because that's what I saw. Wow. And he only has one video.
Files. And some people simply don't believe it. People are now questioning the victim's story. And this whole thing is leaving a lot of people confused.
Well, Jay-Z and Pusha T are on the Epstein files and people are not trying to keep the same energy saying it's cap. Nah. Y'all said we believe in everything on the Epstein files. Which one is it? The woman on the files claims that Pusha T and Harvey Weinstein attended a party with her and then they proceeded to give her that Bill Cosby. I have people on social media saying, no. They believe everything about Elon and Bill Gates, but they won't believe anything when it comes to Pusha T and Jay-Z, saying that it had to be planted. While others are saying that, how are we going to believe some victims and not all victims on the Epstein files?
Man, it seems like every year, something new with Jay-Z's name attached to it keep popping up. And man, we've been hearing about Jay-Z's alleged downfall ever since Jaguar Wright and a couple of Diddy's bodyguards been going on the internet sharing private information and secret stories. And man, look, people keep naming Jay-Z, man. We saw that one lawsuit that got tossed out when that one girl accused Jay-Z of raping her at the MTV Awards, and she came out to not be telling the truth. And so we're going to have to see what's going on with this new allegation. Now, some people believe it.
This is our project management team, and we run everything on Monday.com. And this is Aaron. He used to always...
Some people don't believe it. For the simple fact of the matter is, some people are saying that the woman's story saying that Pusha T was a handler in 2006 or 2007, a lot of people are saying that Pusha T wasn't even a big rapper back then, that he was still like a low-list, low-tier rapper. So some people is saying that, look, man, this lady's story might not add up. However, like I always say.
So this is my thing about something like that. A lot of people I've heard on the internet too are saying, well, back whenever they were saying this happened, the time frame or whatever, that Jay-Z allegedly did these things, or whenever he's mentioned in these files, well, he wasn't that big of a rapper yet anyway. I mean, I think he had just dropped, like, I think the Carter 2 or whatever it's called. And so he wasn't there yet. So, but that doesn't mean that you're not intertwined with a whole bunch of scandalous people. And I haven't read the files, but if it says something to the effect of, the lady is saying, or the victim is alleging that, Pusha T was there. First of all, I don't even know who the fuck Pusha T is. Let's start there. I don't know a Pusha T song. I couldn't tell you. But let's just say if the way she's describing this person, she's saying that's who this was and this is what happened there, and he was some sort of kind of low-level person, then that's congruent with where he was in his career at that time, right? Maybe he was a handler, like she's saying, if his career wasn't really popping like that. So to me, that checks out. So I don't understand how people on the internet are like, oh no, da, 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 da. And I'm not saying they're wrong, because listen, I wasn't there. I don't know none of these people. But people, for whatever reason, I've known over the years in my work that the people, it's like they can't fathom that the person that they idolize or that they love their music or they think they're such a great singer could be a savage. They just can't be both. Like, stop it. I didn't know shit about Diddy. Nothing about that man. Never heard one peep. Not one peep until the Cassie thing. Not one peep. Now, I had watched a Sloan Bella, she did a video, a reading or whatever, with Notorious B.I.G., the late Notorious B.I.G., and he said he called Diddy. This was way before the Diddy files, not the Diddy files. This was way before Cassie dropped that lawsuit and everything else that happened after that. Sloan Bella was saying then that Notorious B.I.G. or Biggie Smalls, when she was doing her reading with him, meaning he was in the afterlife already, right? He called P. Diddy Devil Dog. This is before anything I heard anything about anything. And I remember not wanting to even watch the one she did about Notorious B.I.G. and the one about Tupac. I didn't want to watch it because I didn't want to, I was just like, if she in any way, does anything to disparage their name, that's going to piss me off. But no, that whole reading, she was talking to Diddy and he didn't have anything. Not to Diddy. She was talking to Notorious B.I.G. or doing the reading with him or whatever. Listen, he didn't have nothing good to say about Diddy. Not one good thing. That aligns with all of the shit that, not everything, I can't say with everything that Gene Deal says or said about Diddy and Biggie Smalls or Big Papa or whatever, but it's very correlated. So after I watched that, and then I watched the one she did with, I had watched the one she did with Kim Porter. There's 3 parts. You should go watch it. Listen, she talks about all of this shit, all of the stuff that they do at some of these parties. She named one specific party that Kim Porter went to, where she was like, the room was like a crimson red, and they were at this long table and high back chairs. That just sounded like some shit I hadn't seen on a movie for real, right? But she talked about what Kim saw at that dinner. And she said it was all kinds of very interesting, quote unquote, interesting people, very different people at this particular event, dinner party. And whatever Kim saw, it scared her. Like, she was like, Kim has seen so much, but after that's when allegedly Kim started working with authorities in some capacity. And then subsequently, Kim was found unalived in her home, which nobody believes that she died of pneumonia. Let's just keep it a book. If you go back and look at our Black history, all the slaves or the people that died way back in the 1800s or whatever the case may be, typically the way they died, if they were rebellious in any way, pneumonia. It's the easiest way to say, yeah, this person just died of natural causes. They just were sick. So to me, all of these savages that are in the entertainment industry that got found out or getting found out, good for their ass. I don't feel no type of way about some of these perpetrators going to jail for the rest of their life. Like, they don't even need to be out. You're savages. But anyway, let's keep going.
Hey guys, everything is going to have to come out in court, and look, they're going to have to provide some evidence. But I do know this Epstein file has dropped, and a lot of big name celebrities and very powerful rich men is on that list. And look, they got videos, they got photos, they got all types of documents about these powerful rich guys doing some creepy things on that Epstein Island, man. Look, they even alleging that Bill Gates and his wife had a freak off, and Bill Gates was allegedly asking Epstein for STD pills because his wife caught a STD allegedly from one of the So whoever they was messing with, man, this whole thing is diabolical, and it's turning Hollywood on its head. Not just Hollywood. It is turning the government on its head because there are some very powerful people that's named on this Epstein list, man. But tell me what you think about this situation, guys. Do y'all believe what this lady is saying about Jay-Z?
Listen, I don't even know what to think. I don't even know what to think. Do I believe that Jay-Z knew Epstein? Yes. Do I believe that he was intertwined with this man in some capacity? Yes. Do I believe that he probably went to Epstein Island? Yes, I do. I believe those things. I could be wrong because, like I said, I don't know none of these people and I wasn't there, but I can't put shit past none of these people, especially wealthy, powerful men. I can't put it past them. But that's it. That's all, y'all. I got to get ready to go. I got an interview and I got a dental appointment. So I will talk to y'all later. But hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Like I said, in the description, I have the 2 people videos that we looked at during this live. Go and subscribe and like their videos, and I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Chanel's Reality. I'm Chanel, and this has been my reality. Talk to y'all later. Bye.